Hi guys, Jimmy here in Chicago, and I'm going to start sharing with you some of the mob trials I went to, going back to the early 1990s to the mid 2000s. It's going to be an interesting insight from a court buff's perspective, where you actually see the defendants, their family, their friends. You observe the judge, the prosecutor, the lawyers. You hear all the witnesses. You see all the interesting evidence. The following are a couple tidbits from just some of the trials I went to. Please sit back and enjoy. Now, I was very fortunate to go to the legendary Family Secrets trial, and one of the highlights is when Joey the Clown took the stand in his own defense. I'll never forget it. The prosecution threw up this photo to show this was the making ceremony of Joey. When Mitch Mars cross-examined Joey, he denied knowing everybody in the photo except Tony Arcardo and Joey Iupa, who he said they were his fishing buddies and real good fellas. You're going to hear much more about the Family Secrets trial later on. Going back in the early 90s, one of my first trials was the Sam Carlisi trial. They were running a multi-million-dollar gambling operation. Here in the bottom to the right is the boss of Chicago outfits, Sam Carlisi at the time, Little Jimmy, Tony the Hatch, Tony Zizzo, who happens to be MIA, and two of the Bonavolante brothers in the front. You're going to hear from all the witnesses that testified against them and all the evidence that the prosecution presented. Now, this trial was heartbreaking. This is the second trial of Bobby Salerno. In the first trial, allegedly Rocky and Felice, Bobby Salerno and the crew, they murdered a bookie. And not just any bookie, the largest bookie in the United States. The jury hung on Bobby Salerno. So this was the second trial. We're going to talk about the low-life scumbag that testified against him. Bobby Salerno's son represented him in court. He was so proud. This was a major RICO case against Larry Hoover, Gregory Schell, a Chicago police officer, and other high-ranking black gangster disciples. Government said in opening statements they were running a $100 million a year drug operation. They made more money than U.S. Steel. Hoover was running the violent gang from his prison cell in Vienna. The government put a little transmitter in the visitor's pass that picked up hours of conversation of them talking in code. Stay tuned to hear more evidence. Now, this was an interesting trial. Betty Lauren Maltese, ex-mayor of the town of Cicero, a mob boss and his son, allegedly stole $12 million from the town of Cicero. The mob boss was enraged that they got indicted, and he wanted to have her killed because of her greed. We're going to talk about all the evidence against their scam and the defense that Betty Lauren Maltese and her lawyers put on. Stay tuned.